we are getting our first look today at former Vice President Joe Biden and his newly chosen running mate, Kamala Harris. Philip Crowther, international affiliate reporter for the Associated Press, joins me now from Wilmington, Delaware. Philip, always good to see you. So set the scene for us in Wilmington, Delaware right now.
Well, you can see this is really not your average campaign event, at least not the kind of campaign event we would have seen a few months ago. During a pandemic, well, you're going to see a lot of empty spaces, essentially, both outside of this event that happened here in this high school you see behind me, just a stone's throw from Joe Biden's house, by the way, but also inside of the sports hall here at this high school with no crowd allowed inside, just a handful of journalists to listen to Joe Biden and his new running mate Kamala Harris. Now, the fact that this was a closed event almost entirely to the press and certainly to the public didn't mean that Biden supporters didn't come out. About 100 were standing here right outside of the main entrance to this high school when they found out that actually Biden and Harris were arriving by car the other side. Well, they all ran over to get a glimpse, maybe a sign of there being that little bit of enthusiasm, even during a pandemic, for this new ticket for the Democratic Party. But again, with every campaign event we've been seeing over the last few months, there's just that one thing that's missing, that interaction between voters and the candidates themselves. And that was the case again here in Wilmington.
Well, Philip, can we quickly talk about the historic nature of the selection of Senator Harris as the VP and its significance?
Yeah, of course, it's a historic moment. And of course, with this being such a historic moment, it's even more of a pity, really, that so few people got to see that presentation of Kamala Harris as the new vice presidential running mate for Joe Biden in person. Of course, it is enormously historic, also because of what might potentially come in the future, because we all know that Kamala Harris would be the first female vice president, but there is that distinct possibility of her possibly becoming the first female president because of all of those questions around whether Joe Biden, if he was to be elected, would he truly stay in the White House for one or two mandates, thereby opening the door potentially for a run by Kamala Harris in 2024. Seems a long time away, doesn't it? But it could be a very, very historic move. Right now, in this present moment, Kamala Harris is the first black vice presidential candidate in a major political party in the United States. She has been making a lot of history already. And of course, what she will want to do on this ticket with Joe Biden is convince as many Democrats as possible, both those at the center of the party, the left wing of the party, to vote for them. And that includes, of course, that more progressive wing, if you will, symbolized by Senator Bernie Sanders during these primaries for the Democratic Party. Now, whether these two candidates together can get any Republicans on board, that is a much bigger question. We'll have to wait and see whether they can convince over the next few months. It's, of course, under 100 days now to go until the presidential election in November.
Well, Philip, we have a little less than a minute left, but I'm curious, what can we expect to see from Biden and Harris ahead of next week's DNC?
Well, what you'll see at the DNC is entirely different to what we've seen over the last few years, of course. These will be virtual online appearances. They won't be appearing in person in Milwaukee, where the convention was supposed to happen. These will be videos, live videos, essentially, and presumably with a joint appearance from the two as well. We don't exactly know what that's going to look like yet. But really, what we've seen here today and over the last few months is what we expect this campaign to look like, maybe all the way to Election Day, with very little contact, again, between voters and the candidates themselves. Now, that doesn't mean that the main dates won't happen. We are still expecting to see 3 presidential debates between Biden and Trump, 1 vice presidential debate between Pence and Harris, and then, of course, the election itself on the 3rd of November. Those key dates are still very much going to happen, but the campaign events that you've been used to over the last few years, they're simply not happening.
Well, Philip, thank you so much. Always appreciate your analysis. Philip Crowther, international affiliate reporter for the Associated Press. Thank you again.